It has been a busy edition of the Sports Cubicle and Sports from the Couch here on WCPT 820 AM, heartlandsignal.com, WSBC 1240 AM, Chicago. Make sure you're subscribing to us over on YouTube if you want to see the YouTube version of the show at the Sports Cubicle. I'm your host, Mike Mercado, with Devin Tingle. And why don't we talk a little bit about the beloved who have finished all three of their preseason games after Friday nights. And there are some interesting news and notes beyond just on the field that I wanted to get to, Devin. And the first one is this news that just broke before you and I actually got into the studio. And it has been a name that has circulated Bears fans for a very long time since he got here. He is enamored by his play. He is the one, he is the only, he is Tyson Bagent, and he will be a Chicago Bear for at least the next 2+ years as he signs an extension for 2 years, $10 million extension, $16 million max. It's reported by Ian Rappaport and Tom Pelissero, along with Mike Garofalo. And before we dig deep into the rumor mill that has kind of caught fire, Tyson Bagent, I think, is an interesting case subject for Bears fans. You can learn a lot about certain people, the way they speak about Tyson Bagent, and more specifically, how they talk about QB1 that's ahead of Tyson Bagent. But taking all that away, I think the NFL has finally learned the importance of a backup quarterback. Everybody knows that unless you have a freak season or you have a freak athlete, every player on your team is going to get hurt on some level. If you're lucky, you can survive it. They don't miss any games. It's on their non-throwing hand and non-throwing shoulder, but your quarterback is going to get hurt as well. And if you don't have a good enough line, it's going to happen more often than not. So if you're really in a position to try to compete, try to win a division, try to be credible, let's not even talk about Super Bowl, just be credible in the NFL, you need a credible backup. I think Tyson Bagent is the perfect type of backup. He's exciting. He's got some talent. He could do interesting things in the field. But I think deep down in all our hearts, we know he is good at spurts at 4, 5, maybe 6 games, can win you a couple, but won't embarrass you. Chase Daniel, I think, is a great guy in the locker room, in the Bears QB room, as the backup quarterback for Caleb Williams and Tyson Bagent, so they can learn from him. But Case Keenum, excuse me, not Chase Daniel. Case Keenum, Chase Daniel, ultimate backup in the bank.
That was years ago.
But Case Keenum being the backup of this team is another example of somebody who's played in big games, who, again, is not going to threaten your starting quarterback. So when I saw Tyson Bagent got paid, to me, it's a smart move. Good insurance, bridge quarterback if Caleb ever gets hurt, but won't threaten Caleb for a starting job. But he's competitive enough to put the work in to try to be. That's the best of all worlds. What did you think about Tyson Bagent getting this extension?
I'm a little torn, Mercado, because it just kind of strikes me as a Bears move here. And it's more, I mean, I get, everything everything is more expensive over the course of years, and a good company would raise your wages.
Interesting.
So you can make those, exciting things. But I don't know. It just kind of brings me back to when they signed Andy Dalton. And it's like, well, now we got to get rid of Kyle Fuller. It's like we got $10 million to extend our backup quarterback.
Some money, to be fair, to your point, like opposed to them not being really well kept with their books, then at least right now their cap is somewhat under control.
But I feel like there are just better options we could use to spend that money. I mean, definitely we're seeing now that Caleb Williams is the definition of a pocket passer. Now that he has an offensive line, he's not running for his life here. I'm just saying there are so many better options we can definitely go on there. Our defense is good. It could be better. And I don't know, maybe I'm trying to think like what else we could really kind of fill in there. I mean, I don't know. The offense is all the tools. I don't know. I just feel there are better uses on better players we could have gotten for that as opposed to Tyson Bagent.
I think there's on paper, I think I get what you're saying in the sense of like, if I could allocate that money to other places, I'm sure I could find other talent to try to, put the last bit of pieces into this team. I think the thought process is, Caleb sprains his ankle for 2 weeks. Can Bagent be a good enough backup to help win or split those 2 games, especially if 9 games gets you into the NFC playoffs, right? That's where it makes sense to me, where I think it would be a very Bears thing to do had it been that they are trying to make this an actual competition. It's not just that Caleb's a pocket passer and we saw a really nice game against Buffalo. It's also, we know the talent is there, that the scouting has been there, that there's going to need to be some tweaks. And more importantly, having Ben Johnson as your play caller, as the head coach, and investing on the offensive line are going to help exacerbate his talents and exploit them in a positive way. But it's an interesting, I think, a devil's advocate, if you will, that you bring up of where else can you allocate this money. But in the grand scheme of things, 10 million, 60 million altogether, not that crazy, not going to break the bank.
Can I borrow 10 million?
Yeah, man, if I had it, we wouldn't be doing it right here, would we? So I just thought it was an interesting move. I don't think it's a threat to Caleb. I think this is positive for Bagent. I think this also shows the confidence this team has on the entire quarterback room. Again, does it mean 12 wins? No, this doesn't equate to any type of win. I think it equates to confidence, and it equates to maybe this coaching staff kind of has a grasp on what they actually have with the starting quarterback and the backups. So you can't really tell anything that's going to happen on the field. I just like to read in between the lines why front offices invest money. And this is one of those cases where I think they probably made the right move in this one, but only time will tell. And if it will pay off, as insurance sometimes does or does not. But we will see, as Tyson Bagent will be a Chicago Bears backup for the next few years as he signs an extension with the Chicago Bears.